Hello, today I'm going to be discussing the role of public history in the American memory. For this topic, I chose to talk about Colonial Williamsburg. Colonial Williamsburg started off as the seat of government for colonial Virginia. It was the location of the House of Burgesses, it was the location of the governor's mansion, as well as many prominent businesses. The city of Colonial Williamsburg, up until the time that the capital was moved to Richmond, was one of the leading towns in all of Williamsburg. Anybody who wanted to be in politics, anybody who was in business, found themselves at Colonial Williamsburg. Men like Patrick Henry and George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Henry Lee, George Worth, all these men who were prominent in the founding and the creation of the United States of America found themselves in this city. These men would spend the evenings there. These men would drink at the taverns. These men would talk politics in the taverns. And this is where America really starts. This is where the men that are going to write the documents that found America spent time talking to each other, debating, thinking about what ideas they would actually want to see if they declared independence. The Virginia Bill of Rights is one of the founding documents that America draws all of its Bill of Rights from, as well as other important things. However, when the capital was moved to Richmond, things in Colonial Williamsburg changed. Businesses moved, shut down, and it lost its importance. It lost its prominence. The only thing that really remained in Colonial Williamsburg was the College of William and Mary. College of William and Mary is still a college to this day, that centered on government, politics, law. It's where men like Thomas Jefferson would go and get their degrees from. And it's really the only thing that was able to survive the capital moving. And even then, it was still a rough time. Even through the Civil War, the city of Williamsburg became a Union occupied town, and it was spared for the most part from Union destruction, unlike other cities of importance in the South. Which brings us to its role today. Colonial Williamsburg today is one of the most visited sites in the United States. And it's even more so visited by actually people that are not U.S. citizens, which I find very amazing. Its historical accuracy and its representation of what things were like, its people that worked there, that portray what life was like, what the times were like, makes Colonial Williamsburg stand out as one of the most well-preserved, in my opinion, places within the country. The fact that the houses are still there, the fact that they took, when they rebuilt Colonial Williamsburg in 1927, when the Rockefellers started to buy property in Williamsburg to rebuild it, they understood the importance of preserving American history and their philanthropy works that would be remembered, that people could go and still visit and say, okay, this is what times were like. This is what started the country. And the fact that you can go there still to this day and see just how life would have been like in the 16 and 1700s. What life would have been like for people growing up during the American Revolution there. When they rebuilt places like the Governor's Palace, and they took time to really look at the blueprints laid out by Thomas Jefferson and build it to scale, build the gardens to scale, it really exemplifies American ingenuity, American know-how to be able to recreate everything the way that they did, but the American willingness to preserve and understand that preserving history is important. Something that I fear as time's gone on, we've somewhat forgotten about just how important it is to preserve history, not only to just say, well, that's history, which far too often we do. So in 1927, when he started to buy up lots and houses in Colonial Williamsburg, he kept it secret because he didn't want the prices to go out to an outrageous spin for him to have to buy it up. And then he gradually started to rebuild it. And even to this day, they're still doing archaeological digs. They're still rebuilding. They're still remodeling. They're still making bricks to remodel in the old method. And they're doing everything they can to preserve and to maintain it. And I think that when we think of the American memory, when we think of public history, we think of museums, we think of art museums, we think of individual buildings. It's not too often that we actually get to experience a whole city still in that time, kind of. When you go to Williamsburg, it's like stepping back into the past and seeing something that should take you back and make you think this is how it all started.